Salvatore Ambulando, The Adventures of Steve and Dixie by Stephen Breakstone. Snippets from my journal. Episode 37, Month 14, July 1987. Pre-note, side note. The following entries are a perfect example of combining written entries when I was taking a break or at a day's end and live recording entries, which means I was speaking into my recorder as I was having the thoughts and experiences as I was walking. You'll see what I mean as you listen. And also, let me use this opportunity to express that photographer quality, meaning me, as well as film quality, and 40 years of prints fading do not capture the beauty of what I experienced as I walked over, or we walked over, the Rocky Mountains. So if you're watching this video instead of just listening, don't let the photos or the pictures disappoint you. Just kind of use them to use your imagination and perhaps some memories that you might have. But actually, I really recommend only listening to this video and let your imagination do its job. At the time, I even knew that any photos I took wouldn't capture the intense beauty, but also I was more focused on experiencing and feeling my physical and emotional experience than trying to capture it on film. I was aware that I needed to photograph some of the experiences because I knew that in the future the pictures would someday stir my memory. But the bottom line is, I was just soaking it all in. So having said all that, as you listen, wow, what an experience this was for me. It was the power of the experience that is still with me to this day. I hope you enjoy. July 4th, 1987, Saturday, Twin Lakes, Colorado. Happy birthday, America. And to celebrate, Dixie and I will climb one of your most beautiful passes, a range that separates your east side from your west side. Do you want to know what freedom is? What this trip is all about? It's about a lifestyle full of variety, ambiguity, and open-mindedness. My plan was for us to sit and enjoy Twin Lakes for a day to rest up for the longest townless stretch of our trip so far, the 38 miles from the town of Twin Lakes to Aspen via Independence Pass. We arrived Tuesday night and planned to stay Wednesday and leave Thursday morning. But on Wednesday, we met a nice couple in their 30s from Colorado Springs out by the lake to relax and fish for a few days. Karen and Louis Lentz had 2 chairs, 2 fishing poles, and 3 freshly caught rainbow trout. And then we got to talking, and I was invited to dinner. Karen and Louis caught the fish, Louis cleaned them right there on the shores for the awaiting gulls, and Karen cooked the fresh trout in a smattering of butter on the grill provided by the campgrounds. And we all ate it with relish. Not relish the food, but the feeling. Food can't be fresher or tastier. Instead of staying 1 day, we stayed 3, just because we wanted to. That is freedom. Sometimes I find the meaning of this trip, the meaning of my life, if you will, in the smallest and simplest of experiences and moments. For isn't life just a series of experiences and moments? If those experiences and moments are good and fun, then isn't your life good and fun? Perhaps that is the meaning of life. Today is Saturday. We are ready to head up the pass after eating lunch, and we'll buy more food in the town. This town is made up of about 38 people, if that many. It contains a small inn and restaurant that used to be a brothel for minors, and also a country store that provides supplies for the fishing public and other assorted campers and bikers and walkers. I expect the 38 miles to take today, tomorrow, and Monday. I plan to go slow. Yet how much slower can I go than by walking it? Later. The road narrowed, the pine trees surrounded us, and a few side roads winded their way to nearby campsites or campgrounds. A young cyclist, Rodney, a 13-year-old from the Alexandria, Pineville area of Louisiana, took a liking to my companion and pedaled alongside us. It's a lot easier for us on foot than for him on a bicycle. But our new friend is so interested in what we're doing. I mean, he asked so many questions about where I have been, what I have done, and living on the road. He puffed and pumped his little heart out as he took us into his life, and we kept on striding up the mountain. We finally arrived at an off-road area where his family has a camper set up for the holiday weekend. Rodney introduced us to his family. Then we sat and talked for a good long while. Finally, Dixie and I gave our goodbyes and continued to head on up. I wonder how much of this short meeting in his life will affect him. Everybody has millions of experiences in their life, some tiny, some monumental, and only time tells how each experience will affect each individual life. Will our meeting and talking be a forgotten moment in Rodney's life? Or will it be a poignant event that will be recognized and perhaps manifest itself later in his life? Heck, it was one quick grab of a book in the local library that changed my life. Side note, as I once shared in one of my pre-walk videos, a few days after I graduated Hofstra University in Long Island, New York, I was at the Finkelstein Memorial Library at Spring Valley, New York. And I was just looking for books to read, nothing that I was obligated to read after 4 years of college and all the other school before, and nothing I had to do a report about. And as I was walking out of the library with a little pile of books, near the exit were older paperbacks that were just for the taking. I didn't even have to check them out. The title that grabbed my eye was A Walk Across America by Peter Jenkins. I was already planning to travel America, and hey, sure, throw it onto the pile, looks interesting. Turned out to be quite a defining moment grabbing that book, and I was already at a crossroads in my life. And sometimes I think it's hard to imagine anything being different, but how would things have been different if I didn't happen to run across that book at that time? Sometimes you just never know, but it is fascinating. Later, Dixie and I walk on. The sky is mostly clear blue with a few beautiful, pure white clouds. The trees are green, like I've never seen before. Everything is so keen. The sun is sharp, the atmosphere is thin, and we could really feel the intensity of the rays. The air is crisp and cool. The combination is refreshing and wonderful and makes for glory. I have acclimated quite well in my mode of transportation to the higher elevations, but still, I huff and I puff, and Dixie pants. The air is, in fact, thin. I know we're in good shape, and so we just take it easy. No problem, no rush. Later. There's nothing like walking on a narrow road in the wilderness and having a deer run out in front of you, look you square in the eye, say hello, and run off. Just living its free and natural life in the world. And here we are being a part of it. July 5th, 1987, Sunday. This experience is truly incredible. We woke up this morning with still many miles to the summit. Up, up, up. Every step has been a constant struggle, yet it's so beautiful and enjoyable. Closer, closer, closer to the top. Mountains of rocks and trees, and water coming out of it, all finding its way to lower ground. Here I am in July, and I see patches of snow above us, level with us, and even below us. We are breathing hard, and it's work to get to the top. But this is such a mellow, fun kind of work. Awesome beauty is all around us. A better writer than I can only describe this and do it justice. No, I take that back. This is not something that can be described with any form of accuracy. This is more than species of fauna and flora, colors and crispness. This is so very personal. Later. I can't seem to close my mouth. It's open as if to silently say, I can't believe this. Out loud, I can't help myself from repeating, oh my God. I'm overwhelmed. Exhilaration is the word. With every step, I'm just happier, refreshed, and stimulated. Not stimulated on the outside with just my eyes, but deep within myself, my core, where I live. This is the true experience I am having. The feeling of grandeur, not for myself, but for being alive on the earth. More and more of an understanding of what we are a part of. Later. The glory of this giant home of ours, understanding that nature is the ultimate mother of us all, and I have come home, and she is hugging me within her bosom. It is true I am on a human-built road and cars do pass us by, but the expanse of nature cannot be outdone or overshadowed. This takes a backseat to nothing. Later. As humans, we have so often gotten away from nature, hidden from it, and tried to even destroy it, and we consider ourselves so smart. Perhaps it is all those creatures that never left it and have no desire to do so who are really the wise ones. Later. No, I cannot even attempt to describe what I see. And I don't think I even want to try. All I can attempt is to relate, as best as I can, what is happening to me on the inside, where it really counts. I am exhilarated by walking through what I'm walking. Later. And how does my domesticated Canis familiaris feel about being out here? She being even more of a living entity, understanding more through her soul than through her humanly defined intellect. She knows joy and pleasure, the greatest part of life. She knows the freedom, beauty, smells, sights, sounds of pristine nature. Having a capable mind and body and taking in life and nature into her lungs and head and letting it swirl around inside her very being. Letting it all out and making room for the next sight and breath and continually being overwhelmed with fulfillment. Yes, Dixie understands and appreciates. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise about non-human animals, for they would be only ignorant humans. Later. Independence Pass, 12,095 feet above sea level. From below sea level in New Orleans to the lowest point area in Colorado at the Arkansas River Valley to camping at the base of the state's highest point, Mount Elbert, at 14,433 feet, to one of the highest passes. And with my 6 feet, my head is 12,101 feet above sea level. I love it. Another accomplishment. And to celebrate and acknowledge, I bought a white clam and turquoise star necklace from a Navajo Indian girl selling native jewelry as she sat on her knees on a blanket set out on the ground displaying her wares. We've taken another of our many rests on our leisurely stroll across the pass. Again, I see the advantage of walking across America. Here at the height of the pass, there's a sign telling people where to park to walk over to the overlook. I park our packs and take a look. The first thing I see is something I knew all along. No matter which direction one gazes, there's just beauty in its most pristine form. But in all fairness, it's not the most wondrous sight I have seen today. My traveling method allows us to stop our forward momentum, and at any given moment, we just stop our legs and look around for as long as we want. And we do this quite easily, as many times as we want. I know full well that in a car, it becomes annoying to continually stop the car, especially on a narrow, windy road with cars behind you. It's not possible to keep stopping and take in long, deep breaths of the natural world. Even on a bike, deciding to waste built-up momentum is a big deal. But as a walker, I see it all, as long as I want, whenever I want. All it takes is not putting the next foot forward. And this has given us the opportunity to stop at many other places where others couldn't, and to be perpetually amazed. This summit overlook, relatively speaking, doesn't compare to what we have already seen. But if you have seen the spectacular overlook, then you can imagine how beautiful some of the other vistas are. Later. And now we pass the Continental Divide. We are on the west side of the country. It's all downhill from here. We head on down the mountain, and at 7:50, we stop to make camp. We went off-road and into the land. We don't need much, just a level spot. I made a little campfire and roasted some hot dogs that we bought in the store in Twin Lakes. Water has been plentiful. Streams are abundant, shooting out of rocks and heading downhill to join up with what the map says will become the White River. I know, Everything I read says not to drink untreated water without boiling it for 10 minutes or at least using water purification tablets. I have the fire and I have the tablets, but I can't help but believe that it would be sacrilege to do anything but drink this water as is. As God and Mother Nature made it, it's still pure. I mean, if I can't feel safe drinking this water at 12,000 feet, nothing's safe. We drink to our heart's content. I sit back, drink, eat, and reflect. And Dixie chases deer. Actually, she doesn't mean to chase them. She just goes to them and wants to play. But try to explain that to a wild deer. I let her be. They're plenty safe. I mean, in just a few seconds, they go boing, boing, boing as they spring over the bushes that are only 2 or 3 feet high. And Dixie follows them, but she can't quite jump the tall, wide, thick bushes as easily as these forest dwellers. I've been watching her as she runs around the first bush, then gets to the second, finds she can't jump over those, so she runs around that one, and then she gets around that, and then there's another and another bush. Well, the deer are long gone by now. They have the home field advantage. Dixie gets a lesson in frustration. No new playmates tonight, my dear dog. She continues her explorations as I watch the colored sky and all the shades of blue. A whole day, and we only walked 10 miles. Perfect. And there's 20 miles more to Aspen. The air is crisp and cold, and I finally call in my tent mate, and I bundle in my warm, cozy sleeping bag. Once again, we go to sleep. 2 small, insignificant beings in a corner of the forest. Just living our lives. July 6th, 1987, Monday. So now we are on the western side of the United States. What exactly does that mean? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Maybe it means that the water runs the other way towards the west. Up to now, we've always walked against the water. Now I guess we'll be walking with it. As far as I know, it's all downhill to Aspen, but I have a feeling that this part of the country is quite a bit more mountainous. Later. Here's a thought as I sit by a stream in the Rockies of Colorado at 12:15 on this Monday. It's 2:15 p.m. in New York City right now. I sit back and relax and listen to the clear, clean, virgin water wind its way to the Pacific, and listen to the forest sounds and breathe crisp mountain air. At home, in New York, they are a hustling and a bustling to millions of cars and fellow beings and all that entails. And all this is happening at the exact same moment. Thank God, or thank Mother Nature, that I am here. And maybe I should thank myself too. Later, we walk some more. But I made a mistake. I thought it couldn't get any better. I thought coming down the mountain would be nice, and for the first few miles, it was not any better than on the way up. And that's saying quite a bit. But my exhilaration is peaking again. I mean, first I hit the unique, magnificent groves of quaking aspen. And then so fast, these little streams have turned into cascading rivers crashing down beside individualistic rock smoothed over by glaciers so many thousands of years ago, as well as the nonstop rush and crush of water. My mouth, once again, is continuously agape, as is my whole spirit. It just doesn't stop. I mean, every time I think I've seen it all, it hits again with something totally different and equally incredible. Visions of natural beauty that go beyond words. This is a lesson in life, a lesson in doing as best as I can to understand the nature of our planet, Earth. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know. I mean, the more I know, the more I want to know. You know, the more I see, the more I want to see. And the more I see, the more I realize how much there is to see. And the further we walk, the more I learn. Okay, enough said. Later. I'm starting to see cyclists coming up the mountain. It's so steep that it's not even easy walking down. I have to hold myself back so as not to tumble over and roll down like a snowball. I admire these people, but I sure don't envy them. I wouldn't trade places with them. I think my way is much more fun, easier, and provides greater ability to appreciate what is around. But to each his own. Either way, still, it's better than a car. One guy biking up the mountain was loaded up with gear fully filling his side bags. As he passed by, quite slowly, we nodded to each other. "Where are you headed?" I asked. "Bar Harbor, Maine. Where are you headed?" He never stopped pedaling, and I turned as he passed us by. "Seattle." "All right, where'd you start from?" "New Orleans." "Where'd you start from?" "Sacramento." And as he continued on, I yelled, "All right for you too." Lots of people are going cross country. I don't want to be demeaning or snobbish, but hell, walking is the best way. It reminded me of a cyclist I met in Kansas who was on his way to Georgia. He said he went about 80 miles a day. Dixie and I call it a good day if we do 20 miles. So he was traveling about 4 times as fast as we do. Does that mean we really see 4 times as much? It's a thought. It's funny. As much as I have learned to appreciate what I'm doing, I'm no fool to think that I'd want to do it forever. I've considered that someday I would like to get a Jeep or a similar 4x4 and be able to travel around in that, go places that are just not practical to go on foot. That, in a manner of speaking, is possibly the next step. There's no good or bad, just varieties. As long as you get out and do something, you're doing well. Later. I know I just keep saying this, but I record it because it just keeps going through my mind. It just doesn't stop. The wildflowers, the trees, mountains in all directions. Even the road is just beautifully part of the mountain, although just barely, as we hike along the edge of the asphalt. One false step over the edge and we are carrion. My God, this is amazing. Words, like film, cannot capture what is happening here, but so much of the experience is how this world seeps into your very being. It is the peripheral vision and peripheral feeling. It's looking at a vista and having an eagle soar in and out of view. It's the cool, crisp, clean air surrounding the pines and yourself, and the warmth of the sharp sun powering its way through the thinner atmosphere onto the skin on the back of your neck, all around to your cheeks. It's the inhalation of air into your nostrils and smelling the forest, closing your eyes and listening intently to the sounds of the woods. It just doesn't let up. And beyond all the water seeping through the rock, coming together to become mountain streams, growing into a cascading river, torrenting down the Rockies, I see at the bottom of the valley a very mellow, very sweet, soothing, beautiful lake. Later. We're now 4 miles from Aspen, and it's 7 p.m. I started seeing houses about a mile back. I don't like seeing the houses, but I can't blame anyone for wanting a house here. I sure wouldn't mind. But I'd put mine up in the woods somewhere away from the pack and not allow any other houses to be nearby. But now, once again, after days of wilderness, I am back in civilization, and the challenge of finding a private spot for the night has returned. Well, we'll take that challenge and win. Well, enough said. These 3 days and 38 miles were some of the most stimulating miles of the whole trip. They stood out more than most, although there is a wilderness area in Idaho that also held me in awe. But that comes later. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening to my sharing. Peace.